Welcome back to TSM. Today we're going to discuss about the economic meltdown we had today. This is a potential onset into a major economic depression. To know the kind of president we will have while going into this depression, we're going to discuss what he has done for us from 1921 to 1929. Herbert Hoover, our current president, provided aid to the defeated German nations after the war, even though they were our enemies. He also helped relieve the famine-stricken, Bolshevik-controlled area of Russia. Despite opposition from Senator Henry Cabot Lodge and other Republicans, when asked if he was not thus helping Bolshevism, Hoover retorted, 20 million people are starving. Whatever their politics, they shall be fed. The Russian famine in 1921-20 claimed 6 million lives. That is far less than the 20 million that would have died had Herbert Hoover listened to the other Republicans and just ignore them. In July 1922, Soviet author Maxim Gorky wrote to Hoover, "Your help will enter history as a unique, gigantic achievement, worthy of the greatest glories, which will long remain in the memory of millions of Russians whom you have saved from death."
Additionally, Herbert Hoover was part of the CRB, the Commission for the Relief of Belgium. He allocated $35 million to helping Europe restore itself, and 18 million of them were distributed to universities. The remaining money was divided between two foundations called the CRB Educational Foundation and the University Foundation in Belgium. Additionally, we have an excerpt here from his personal memoirs. He also distributed $100 million from charity to buy food from the Food Administration to feed hungry Europeans.
After the relief in Europe, Herbert Hoover returned to America and worked under the position Secretary of Commerce. This had many responsibilities, such as handling the radio. He held many radio conferences, which talked about the Radio Act in 1927. Prior to the Radio Act, the Secretary of Commerce was unable to deny radio licensing or reassign broadcast frequencies. With the help from Senator Dill and Representative White, Hoover brought the issue of radio control to the Senate floor. Hoover fought for more power to control the proliferation of licensed radio, which in 1927 stood at 732 stations. This act allowed the government to intervene and abolish radio stations that were deemed non-useful to the public. As a new air transport industry developed, Hoover held a conference on aviation to promote code and regulations.
So Hoover also hosted national conferences on street traffic, since there are no traffic laws yet. His concern was to address the growing number of casualties, because you can imagine how much pain it would cause to be hit by a car. Yeah, so because the toll of traffic accidents was growing really high, and the conference's goal was to establish motor vehicle transport standards, the rules of the road, and urban traffic control. So the committee established a uniform vehicle code.
The Great Mississippi Flood in 1927 was a very dark time. At the lower part of the Mississippi River, the banks and levees broke, creating the massive flood. This flood displaced 1.5 million people of their homes. Very sad. In 6 days, along Mississippi specifically asked for Herbert Hoover in the emergency. While working, he said, "I suppose I could have called in the army to help, but why should I when I only had to call upon Main Street?" This is a great act of being a humanitarian, which is what Herbert Hoover is. Wanting to help people who are in great distress, such as after World War I.
You know, I have to disagree with you on that because Herbert Hoover was also a very devious person. Yeah, he made like an under the table deal with Robert Moton, who was African American successor to Booker T. Washington as president of the Tuskegee Institute. He wanted to minimize like how the public viewed African American suffering to help him when he ran for president. So yeah, he wasn't always the best person.
Although you say it might be true about his under-the-table deal, I do not think that might have been the only factor involving why he had such a major victory. In election in 1928, it was Herbert Hoover and Charles Curtis versus Al Smith and Joseph T. Robinson. Hoover on the Republican side had 444 electoral votes and 21 million popular votes, while Smith only had 87 electoral votes and 15 million popular votes. A very large victory. A factor that may contribute to this victory may have been the people thought the Republicans were the cause of the booming economy prior to our current economic meltdown, and Smith was Roman Catholic, so he suffered from an anti-Catholic prejudice. And it seems like we have caught up to our current time period of today. I'll let you decide whether or not if Herbert Hoover is the right president for us in the upcoming economic meltdown. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Andrew.
And we wish you good night from TSM.
If it shall appear that while I have had the honor of the presidency, that I have contributed to the part required from this high office to bringing the Republic through this dark night, and if in my administration we shall see the break of dawn of the better day, I shall have done my part in the world.